I am the box you use to prop up your computer. Right there.
Yes.
That's
So
going to be our
how,
tease. That's our tease right there.
that's how Leah and I do all this stuff. Oh, it's been asinine. So last year when Leah and I met, and when I came out to Havasu with her, by the time everybody figured out, well, we still got work to do, and this is how we're going to do it, and we're going to do this Zoom thing, whatever Zoom is. Like literally, I would be in here in the living room, and the door is probably 12 to 15 feet away. It goes outside, and there's a couch under a awning, or I don't know what the hell it is. But anyway, I'd be doing a Zoom call here, and she'd be doing a Zoom call over there at the same time, and we'd do it for 2-3 hours at a time. And then by lunch, because we're on West Coast time or Mountain time, by lunch we're done for the day, and we're off doing whatever we're doing, and nobody knew where we were at. Everybody that I would do stuff with, they're like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm at a friend's house." Where at? Arizona.
On the river.
How did you keep it on the download? It just Arning and
Listen,
that it?
she tells everybody, I think she has the best line that summarizes everything about it, that we won the hide and seek contest during COVID.
Yes, you
So,
did. That's a good
but
one.
we just, I mean, literally, we never did anything. Lake Havasu's 50,000 people, and it's a big car guy city, and but nobody cares. I mean, it's like being at an island without being at an island. They're all laid back, but I mean, when we would go somewhere, it was like, man, we sneak around and try to get tables in the back of restaurants and this and that, and worked out.
Had you been to Lake Havasu before? Because you know what it's known for: debauchery and partying and vomit.
Yeah, that's right up my alley, bud.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Vomit?
like,
Did you say vomit, Kenny?
Yes. You vomit when you go to Lake Havasu.
Yeah, there's a lot. I've seen a lot of that happen here too, unfortunately. It's normally people that are a lot younger than us that are still trying to figure out the cocktail of how much I can drink without puking my guts out.
Has Lake Havasu become the new romantic Riviera?
It is for us. I mean, we're getting married at the end of the year. We're building a house here, so this is honestly the time of year that I do not like being out here, though, because
Yes.
it was, I think, 113, 114 yesterday, and that's actually, believe it or not, it's getting to the hot side, but it's not intolerable. When it gets in the 120s out here, I'm going anywhere but here, because it's literally like standing in front of a hairdryer, breathing
yeah.
the air that's coming out of a hairdryer.
Open up the oven. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. If you truly want to know what it feels like to breathe 120-degree air, that's what you do.
Well, Tony still thinks of us as a California show. So, Tony, Kenny and I are now in Phoenix, and this is we're in that 120 degrees summertime now. We love racing schedules to get us the hell out of here. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I still like this time of year to be back in the Midwest, but Leah's racing schedule's got her out on a West Coast swing, so we get to come back here for a little bit, which makes her happy. And I'm learning the rules of engagement and marriages of, if she's happy, it makes me a lot happier. So
Yes.
I have a lot better chance of success if she's happy.
I think Danica Patrick taught us all the phrase many, many years ago, happy wife, happy life. Yes.
And
Right,
how's
Kenny?
that working? How's that working out for her?
Wait, I didn't mean to go there.
Just saying. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just trying to make sure. I want to make sure that if you're giving me a quote from her that supposedly is going to work, that it's actually working. So,
Okay. Copy that.
hey, here's the thing. I'm with her on this. I mean, and I turned 50 in May, and if I make it to the wedding day, this will be my first marriage. And but I can tell you honestly that Leah was worth the wait. So I would say the same for Danica, that you get in those scenarios and you get in those relationships and you learn from them, and eventually that right scenario will come around, and she will say the same thing that I did. She'll say it was worth the wait. So the best part is that you don't get committed to something that's not working, and that's something that Danica's pretty smart in what she's done in motorsports and everything else. She's smart enough to know that if something's not working, that you got to make a change. So I'd say she's doing the right thing.
It goes back to those cocktails you were talking about in Lake Havasu, in which when you're younger, you're just trying to find what you can drink the most of and still have a fun night. And then, that's just relationships. That's racing. That's everything. When you're young, you make bad decisions, you fail forward, learn from them, and then make it better in the next decade.
and some of us are really good at step and repeat. So almost made a career out of that. But I have learned the equation of the cocktail out here. So I'm very much I love our Busch beer, but I also like my tequila as well. And there's been plenty of people here that said I had a really good time at places that I don't remember being at.
So, Tony, there's not a lot of racing in Lake Havasu. How are you going to keep track of all the racing projects you have going on if your method of operation, your headquarters is in Arizona?
Well, we're splitting time here, but Havasu actually does have a racetrack here, which I've been to the track, but I haven't seen any races on it yet. But they do have a small paved track at the edge of town, which is kind of exciting. Unfortunately, the races that I want to go to are also on weekends that we have big events, whether it's Leah's races in NHRA or whether it's my sprint car races or our cup races. So I haven't been to a race here yet, but I think we all learned last year during COVID how to operate in a totally different way than what we did before. And so much has been done with streaming. My All-Star Series, Eldora Speedway, we stream on Flow Sports. So no matter where I'm at, I'm connected to what's going on and can see what's going on and be a part of it without necessarily having to be there. But we're not just in Havasu. I mean, half of the year we're in Havasu, half of the year we're still in Indiana and close to my, I'm 3 hours away or 2.5 hours away from Eldora Speedway when I'm home. An hour away from my race shop in Brownsburg. Leah's shop is literally probably a half a mile from my shop as the crow flies in Brownsburg. So, we're still, I would say, based in Indiana, but we're trying to split and spend as much time out west as we can as well. Do
you still have your airplane that you could fly from place to place?
Unfortunately, yes. That thing is as soon as you fire it up, you look out the exhaust and it just shoots dollar bills out the back. But it is very essential for us to do everything that we do. And you guys know, because you've been in motorsports for so long, the demands on everyone's time. My schedule before I met Leah was asinine and crazy. Her schedule was equally asinine and equally as crazy. And now you put the two of us together and our schedule is nuts. I mean, there's no way that we could do all the stuff that we're doing without having the airplane. But that's also what helps give us the opportunity to take care of our sponsors and our partners and our teams and do the things that are necessary to make those teams operate.
Smoke, you missed the opportunity to help us celebrate 20 years of SpeedFreaks last year. We celebrated our 21st this year. You celebrated your 50th. Let's go back 16 years ago with Smoke and the Freak Nation.
No.
Freak Fave. He's going to be the fifth freak for the next 30 minutes. Tony Stewart. Welcome, TS.
Thanks, guys.
We had to get you out of bed a little early, and it's about we had to get you out of bed a little early to come in here today, didn't we?
Yeah, get me up on my day off here. I mean, come on, why you got to do this to me? And then you bring me out here in sweltering heat. It's about 140 degrees out here already. You'd think I'd be used to this.
Look, Freak Nation can change a lot of things, but we're dealing with the cat upstairs. We can't do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we'll just deal with
NASCAR
it.
can deal with the guy upstairs better than we can.
Yeah, they got him paid off, though.
They're the only ones that
Where was that at?
Can I just use one phrase? For the kids?
Oh, right.
For the
Sedalia?
kids. For the kids. Yes, for the kids. Oh, boy. Yeah. Somehow I don't remember much about that, and I think there was a similar reason to what happens in Havasu every week. So, was that?
Yes.
That was surrounding a golf tournament, if I remember right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At a golf cart race. Don't ever forget that, a golf cart race.
I can promise you, no matter how the outcome of the golf cart race came, whatever the outcome was, it was much better than my golf game was that day. So.
You, Gary Selzy, I think Clint Boyer, yeah.
Danny Lasowski.
Danny Lasowski.
There's you put all those names in the same hat, there is absolutely no positive outcome that's going to come out of that.
Bubba the Love Sponge was there. He ran off of the golf course and found a forklift in some neighborhood where they were building houses. It just started to drive that thing around in the neighborhood, Tony. That was debauchery for 12 hours that one day, buddy.
Well, let's just go back to the first part of what you just said there. You're speaking about Bubba the Love Sponge running. That's just almost physically impossible. The laws of physics don't make that realistic in the first place. Now, getting on the forklift, have you seen him drive anything?
Right.
He's great behind a mic, but he's not a very good driver. So to imagine A, him trying to run, B, trying to drive a forklift, those are two things that should never, ever come up again. You guys miss me, don't you?
Yes, very
We
much.
do, man. It's been a couple of years, bud.
Yeah, we miss you guys too, man. I can honestly say over the course of my career, and once I got to a, whether you want to call it a semi or professional, full-time professional level, you guys are the one group that I've probably had the most fun working with the entire time.
Oh, that's kind.
Why is that, Tony? Because that does mean a lot to us. It reminds me of the message that we've tried to convey to people that asked, why are you doing this? How do you get the drivers to talk like this?
Because we're not talking about the same stuff that every reporter that writes for a newspaper or that's doing the local news at 6 o'clock each night or 11 o'clock news each night. We're not talking about the same things. We haven't talked about one race car yet, but yet here we are as a race car driver. We've been on for roughly 10, 15 minutes now, and we haven't said one thing about driving a race car, owning a racetrack. Now it's come into the conversations, but that's not been the basis of the conversations. And I think that's what makes your show so much different. There's so many outlets to talk about motorsports and racing that everybody already knows what we do. They know what we drive. They know we won the SRX championship last weekend in Nashville. They know Eric Amaral and Stuart Haas Racing won at Loudon, New Hampshire. So the story's already been told, but talking about Havasu, talking about a golf tournament that I chemically don't remember anymore because of liquids that went down my throat and altered my mindset. Those are topics that don't get spoke about. So it's what you guys do is fill in the gaps to the fans that people really, I feel like in this era, really enjoy. And they already know what happens on the racetrack and what our reactions are and what we think about it. But it's all the stories of what this group of all four of us, what we've done away from the racetracks and the conversations we've had outside of motorsports. But we're all tied together because of motorsports. So I think that's what makes it so fun for all of us.
Do you think social media is good for that or bad for that? Because sometimes we'll see drivers just go nutso on social media and get a bunch of personal fun stuff out there, and then they backtrack, and then they're like, oop, nope, that's too much.
I think it's a balancing act. And honestly, Leah's the responsible adult in our relationship, and she's great. If you follow her social media, she is a one-man band. I mean, she does everything. And when I say that, I mean, I'm talking about everything she does in drag racing, from does her social media, does her sponsorship deals, manages her schedule, books her appearances, does all of that herself. And that is something that I couldn't do, but especially the social media side, because of her, my social media got better. We learned how to do things better. And it forced me. I mean, we have a partnership with an RV manufacturer, with Thor Industries, and he was complimenting her social media. And basically, by the third time that he complimented her in a text message to me, what he was ultimately trying to tell me is how bad my social media was. So when I finally, the third time when the baseball bat hit me upside the head, and I finally realized what he was actually trying to tell me. We made changes, and I think social media is a huge platform, but it is very much a balancing act, and it very much can, for lack of better terms, it can kill you as much as it can heal you. The fans and the public love the content, but they are also the very first ones that if you step over the line, they're the very first ones to jump on top of it and knock you down. So I love it. I try to take, I'm not going to say a conservative approach on it, but I only show people what I want people to see. I'm not trying to show them everything that I do in my life. I think there's a lot of things, and like I said, I've learned a lot of this from Leah, her being the responsible one. There's things about our life that we don't want everybody to see and that we don't want them all to know, but there's things about our life and things that we're passionate about. Leah's got me into wake surfing, and we love that, and we have a partnership with Pro Wake Water Sports in Indiana because of it. The things that we do together, we like being able to show the fans that and show them a side of us that they don't see at the racetrack. And I think that's, like we mentioned about your show, that's the things that we like, and I think the fans really enjoy, is seeing different aspects that they can't see just in a typical interview on a race weekend.
Tony, has the explosion of social media changed the fundamental core of who Tony Stewart is by keeping something separate where you used to be a lot more open with your fans?
Honestly, I think it's the other way around. I mean, I feel like we're more open with the fans than we've ever had the opportunity to be because of social media. You know, we never really had, you know, I think for race fans to get a chance to see us, I mean, it was just like you mentioned at Sedalia, Missouri at a golf tournament. I mean, there were a lot of people that paid a lot of money to support a charity and that got to be out on a golf course with us and at silent auctions and live auctions at the end of the day. And that's where people get to see you away from the racetrack. And that was almost the only type of outlets that you had for people to see you away from the racetrack, other than if they just happened to be at the right spot at the right time. Where I think social media has given us all the opportunity to really be able to control what they see, but also give them more access to what we do in our lives. But like I said, it's one thing, I think it's a lot better scenario when you have the opportunity to control what content's going out there versus just being a free for all. But I think it's actually worked in a lot of our favors to where, like I mentioned, we can show a lot more of what we're doing with our lives. And I think we all feel a lot more comfortable because we have control of what that content is that's going out these days.
So let me ask you the follow-up to that. Do you like it that you're able to bypass traditional media in order to control the narrative about Tony Stewart?
Well, I don't think we necessarily look at it that we're controlling it. And I really don't feel like we're bypassing traditional media. I feel like we still try to do the same amount. I think COVID's kind of changed some of that as far as how much access we've had to traditional media, but I feel like the social media side is just added to it. I mean, we still have our media requests that we do and our appearances that we do. And I feel like that is still, I feel like there's still a portion of our fans that still thrive on that traditional media. But I also feel like it's really important for the new generation of fan and some of the old school fans are learning how. I mean, my mom's learning how to get on Instagram now. My mom's in her 70s. So it's like, to think my mom's looking at stuff on Instagram, I'm like, Leah, you better not wear too small of a bikini on the lake today because my mom will see this. And the next thing I'm going to get a phone call, like, how can you let her do them? Which I'm joking. My mom would never do that. My mom at this point loves Leah more than me. So if for some reason this relationship doesn't work out, I'm going to have to look for a new mother. But I think the social media side, I think it's really added. I don't feel like it's necessarily taken away from traditional media. I just feel like it's been a good avenue to really show things and show different angles that traditional media don't necessarily cover. But I will say this, because I'm not sure I answered it in your first part of the question. It has not changed who I am and how I act. I still do all the same stupid stuff I've always done. I just get to show some of it if I want to show some of it, and the rest of it shows up in interviews after you've been on a golf course for hours.
Tony, do you applaud the bad boy image that Paul Tracy took in the SRX series?
Are you kidding me? He's the first driver I'm inviting back next year for the SRX series. He has been money for it. Yeah. But again, this is the same scenario, just like what we were talking about. I mean, I had never met Paul, and we connected on Instagram, got talking about SRX. I mean, we'd already sent the invitation out to him, but I had never met him, and I didn't get a chance to officially meet him until we got to Stafford. And I was so excited to finally get a chance to A, meet Paul Tracy, B, get a chance to race against Paul Tracy. And what we saw for 6 weeks on the racetrack was a lot of excitement out of Paul, but I also got to spend a ton of time still at the racetrack, but in the trailers that they had for us to get away during the afternoon when we weren't running the cars and when we weren't in the pit, but to get a chance to spend time with him and his fiance. Paul's a cool guy, super cool guy to hang around with, and super talented race car driver. Now, he's theatrical, he's controversial, but that's who Paul Tracy is, and that's what we want for the series. I mean, I told everybody you couldn't have asked for a better SRX season. We had great TV ratings, we had sellout crowds, we had great racing on and off the racetrack. We got to cap off the season with a NASCAR Hall of Famer and a future Hall of Famer and his son Chase Elliott getting to run to see a father and son get to race each other like that at a stage like that. There were so many cool things, but you also had heroes, you had controversy, you had villains, and everybody goes, well, why do you like Paul Tracy? I'm like, tell me the last time you bought a comic book that had just a hero in it, that didn't have a villain. They don't exist. You have to have, for a comic book to be successful, you have to have a hero and you have to have a villain. And that's what we got. I mean, we didn't know that's what we were going to get. We thought that Paul would create some fireworks on the racetrack. Had no idea he was going to play this role, but Paul's the kind of guy that he embraced that. I mean, he played into that, coming to driver introductions at IRP, which I don't know if they even showed it on the broadcast, but Paul actually got organized them to bring him out in a police car in handcuffs after the crash at Eldora that got Bobby Labonte and Bill Elliott. So to play that up, and then at Nashville, he goes, "Hey, make sure you listen when they announce me." I'm like, what did you do? He goes, I told the announcer to make sure and say, you know, when he announced me to call me Kyle Busch. I mean Paul Tracy. So Paul loves that. Paul understands the entertainment side of it, and but Paul's a hell of a race car driver.
Yeah.
But the thing that people don't see is the stuff like we talked about that are behind the scenes. I mean, he is a cool guy to hang out with, a lot of fun. Very, very smart about motorsports and the whole motorsports industry, but man, he loves racing, and you know, he had a blast for 6 weeks. So he, like I said, I can promise you, he is the first guy I am inviting back for sure next year, before I invite myself back next year.
That's one thing I really liked about the SRX series, is the behind the scenes that maybe people didn't get to see. You inviting Marco onto your boat, taking time to really get to know these guys behind the cockpit. You spent some good time doing that with each and every driver up and down that grid.
And Marco and I have been friends well before SRX. So, I mean, that wasn't anything new for us. But, you know, I think one of the aspects that I really didn't even think about, I mean, I was super excited about racing with Willy T. Ribbs and racing with Paul Tracy and Castroneves, Tony Kanaan. If you can't have fun hanging around Tony Kanaan, you need to go see a doctor, because your life basically sucks if you can't have fun hanging around with him. But to be around those guys and be around Bobby Labonte and Bill Elliott again and Michael Walter, I was excited about that. What I didn't realize that I was going to enjoy so much was meeting Ernie Francis Jr.
Yes.
And getting a chance. I'd met Haley Deegan before, but getting a chance to race with Haley. But then Doug Kobe, our star at
Luke
Fenhouse at Slinger. I had so much fun. That's the most composed 17-year-old I've ever met in my life. Doug Kobe, such a talent. Luke, such a talent. That was probably meeting those two guys and racing with those two guys. Obviously, Bobby Santos. God, I'm trying to think who else we got to run with. But those young guys that were the young guns that came in, that was truly the best part of it to me during the race weekends, being able to hang out with Luke and talk to him in the trailer one-on-one, to get to know Ernie Francis, to get to know Doug Kobe and meet him. You know, I read the racing papers every week, and you read about these guys, but to get a chance to meet them and spend time with them and really kind of hear where their head's at, and they're young guys, and you sit there and you talk to them, and I would sit there and smile, and they're like, "What are you smiling about?" I'm like, "I remember when I was saying the same things that you guys are saying." So for me, that was really cool to get to meet these guys and girls and get a chance to race with them, because, you know, my era is kind of I'm at the end of toward the end of my career. They're just at the start of their career. So to have an opportunity to bring guys like that in and get a chance to race with them, that was super cool to me. On top of meeting guys like Paul and Willy and getting a chance to race with them as well.
Here in the garage area here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and as you can see behind me, it's pretty freaking empty. But when Tony Stewart rolls in town and the Sarge cracks out the SpeedFreaks freaking thong, it's going to come alive. Right there, Stewart?
Yeah, whatever you say.
Crash Gladys and lug nuts with the thong here in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's dangerous, huh?
Yeah, Crash has been borrowing your thongs.
That ain't right.
Well, I don't set the rules or make the rules. I just enforce them.
Oh my God.
So now I get to do the interviewing. Are you still wearing thongs? Not Crash. I'm not asking Crash. I know. This is a Kenny question. I mean, are you still wearing her thongs around?
No, Smoke. When I hit 45, I went straight to boxers, buddy. You need to just let things air out, don't you?
Unfortunately, when I got to 45, I also started realizing you have to start airing things out too. So. Whether it be side by sides in the desert and you're sending it and airing it out over jumps or whatever, there's just things that have to get more air. So I'm sure Crash is excited too, because I'm sure after you wear them, they just don't fit the same as they used to when Crash gets a hold of them.
They don't.
I'm not in this conversation.
I know.
The last person you want to see in a thong is me. Yeah.
I love you so much. I purposely left you out of this part because I mean, you can only torment so many people so many times now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, when you had Smoke23.com, you sold smoke thongs.
I had them.
We did.
Yes.
We did. And we did because it was kind of a joke. But I mean, after, that was still back in the day, kind of before cell phone cameras and all that came out. And we used to be able to have a lot more fun without having to worry about getting in trouble. But we literally had female race fans that would bring them to the racetrack and have you sign them. And I'm like, why am I signing these? I could sell these. So we literally did that for a little while and had fun with it. The scary thought is I wonder how many of those still are floating around somewhere. That's the question that I'm not sure. Well, at least one.
Yeah, I've still got my smoke thong. I'll find it for a picture. Not in it.
Oh, wait, listen, I'm sticking to the first answer. You can't take that one back.
No, not in
this
it.
is going to be great. Well, what do? You put it on Snapchat. That way it goes away and it never comes around again. So.
Yeah, says a lot of people who've been sued and their Snapchats have come back to haunt them.
Yeah, that's the one channel that I have stayed away from because there's no good that can come out of that, I feel like.
Wow.
Smoke, let's not wait 2 or 3 years to get you back in the Freak Nation, man. Damn it.
Hey, I thought I was an honorary member.
You are.
You are.
So,
you know who's at the guard gate.
That's a fact.
For the
bottom
kids,
right of the
partner.
screen is the
For
one
the
that ultimately
kids.
runs the show here.
Yes.
This is like the Brady Bunch trying to figure out how to get my name in the right spot here.
Yeah.
Right there. Right there is who runs the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Stop it. Wait,
he's been our
Yeah, see,
security.
it's the opposite.
Our security and
There.
We look like we're all riding the short bus right now, just trying to point to one corner of the screen here and trying to sort this out.
And like they've already poured the drink for the kids down our throat too. Right?
Somebody had to do it, and somebody has to do it for the kids. And if that means that's what I got to do today for the kids, then you can bet your ass that's what I'm going to do.
Tough job, but yes, we have to do that.
As a professional drifter, my results depend on numbers. And making all this add up is one product, Lucas Octane Booster. It delivers 3 times the boost and promotes a clean fuel burn that keeps my tires smoking through every turn, which even off the racetrack can be difficult not to do. Depend on Lucas Octane Booster.
There's a picture of you looking down at the car seat that we brought into Texas Motor Speedway with our 4-month-old daughter, and you said, "I am never having one of those."
Well, guess what? I'm getting ready to get overruled in that category. I have a feeling.
There's a headline.
There,
Wow.
Yeah. Well, Kenny, how old were you?
Not immediate. It is a headline, but it's not an immediate headline.
There you
It
go.
is that ball has not been put in motion yet. The FedEx guy just delivered something that I'm sure is going to be expensive.
No, of
Yeah,
course.
that's the baby.
That's the baby, man.
Then it's definitely going to. If he left it out in 113 degrees in the sun, I'm going to be really pissed off.
Right.
So,
Kenny, you
Buddy,
were, when we
what?
had Henley, you were 51, 52?
Yeah,
So
bro.
it's possible.
I got some
the
advice.
biggest thing that I'm freaked out about on the baby side is I'm going to be that, and you're in the same boat here, but you're just going to be earlier than me. I'm going to be that guy at my kid's high school graduation. Whenever this happens, however many years down the road this happens, I'm going to be the guy at the graduation that the other kids that haven't met me go, "Oh, your grandfather came.
Yes.
That's so sweet." And tell these little rat bastards they can kiss my ass. So, get your diploma and get out. So
I'm
Yeah, I'm
changing
excited
Henley's
about it.
diaper when she's 2 or 3 months old, and the guy in the bathroom says, "Isn't it great that you can return your granddaughter to her mom?" I said, "This is my daughter, you happy bastard.
Oh,
Settle down."
that's when you throw the diaper in his face.
Exactly.
So I am trying to uphold a Stewart tradition right now. My father did not change one single diaper between myself and my sister. And Leah and I have had this debate, and I said, I am not doing this. I'm just not doing it. But then I'm listening to her in conversations with other women, and the phrase that always catches my ear the most when they're talking about kids is Leah goes, "You have to do that?" That's the one that scares me the most right now. So it's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I have a feeling I'm going to get roped into a lot more than what I really want to do. But let's go back to the car seat. When that happened, I sat there. I felt bad for Crash because I'm like, she is stuck with him. He has reproduced and created this, whatever this is going to be. The Kenny side is instilled in this child, and this poor child is going to have a very, very tough life with this background. I mean, think about this. Her dad, for years, wore thongs. So, I mean, you already see the challenges that are in place here in the uphill battle this kid's going to have to go through.
Will you cut the umbilical cord of your baby?
Absolutely not. So
Well, that's exactly what Kenny said. Kenny, that's what you said too, and then you did.
Wait, listen, you know me, I'm a thinker, I'm a planner, I strategize about things. I have a plan. I've got a small cooler. I will be in the lobby watching Sports Center. I'll have beverages, I'll have snacks. And after that kid comes out, they can cut the cord, they can run it through the little car wash thing, clean it off, polish it up. When it's done, I'll come in, spend as much time as we can. But I am not going to be in there before that, or they will have to have 2 beds because I'll pass out on the floor.
Yeah.
I can't even get blood drawn without almost fainting every time. So I don't know how I could be in that room. There's no way. And then she's like, well, there's no big deal. They put a sheet up. Well, that's great. You're on the same side of the sheet that I'm going to be on. Mm-hmm. You're going to blame me for all the pain that you're having. You're going to want me to hold your hand. Leah used to be a boxer in her teens that people don't really realize. I'm going to get hit. I'm going to get my hand broke. It's going to get crushed. There's no good being in that room for me, watching my spouse be in that much pain. So I'll be in the lobby, whatever happened last night on the ball games, I'll get the recap. I'm sure they'll have some nice waiting room music I can listen to, have my beverages, have my snacks. That's what mothers and mother-in-laws and best friends are for. They can go in and do that stuff. I'll be out where it's safe and sound, and I can ensure that I will be fine.
I can't wait to replay this. Few years
Yeah,
down the road.
You'll be the first one in the room telling the doctor where to go and how to get there and
You
why.
have lost your mind if you think that's going to happen. I'm telling you, let's start the betting right now. I think we should. Okay. I think we should lock in on the bet right now, and then we can play this back. And then I'm going to get paid on this. I will not be in that room.
Crap.
I bet you will be in the room. Tony, I was as strong as you were about not being a part of it, man, but it's remarkable, Broham, watching. Well, don't be the catcher. Be up top.
No.
No.
Listen, I don't even want to be the guy in the dugout giving the signs, instead of talking about what we're doing next year. I don't want anything to do with that. I'm telling you, the best place for me is to be out in the lobby. It's just being in that room is not for everybody, and I hate to say it. I feel like a weak man and a weak spouse or potential spouse at this point, but I feel like a weak partner not being in there. But I know my role and I know my capabilities. This is like sitting there driving a race car and holding it wide open going in the corner, knowing damn well you're going to crash if you go in there wide open. That's what's going to happen if I go in that room. I will be out like a light, and they'll be tripping over me trying to catch the kid, and if the kid falls on the floor because the doctor tripped, then it's going to be my fault again. So see, there's just none of this makes sense. None of this is adding up for me to be there.
Yeah, just in the middle of the contraction in the labor room, when she looks up at you and grabs you by the throat and says, "You'll never do this to me again."
I just hope it's my throat she grabs. The way you held your hand is very realistic on what's going to get held and what's going to get grabbed and squeezed at that point. Now you realize, see, this is just proving my point of why the lobby is a safe place. So
And when she screams, "You'll never do this to me again," you won't have any time to think about if you're in the lobby. Then maybe that's a smart move.
I won't even have to worry about doing it again. She will have everything she needs to keep that from happening in her hand at that time. So I'm not going to have control at that point. So
Smoke, if you are not in the birthing room when Leah has her first baby, I will be surprised. I bet you that you will. If I lose, I will wear a smoke thong. Deal?
Oh.
Smoke thong to dinner.
Ooh.
Ooh.
At St. Elmo's.
All right.
At St. Elmo's, yes.
Okay. If I win, you're inviting me, Crash, Stat, to your abode in Lake Havasu to throw down and vomit on a large boat.
Well, I don't have a large boat there, but yes, that is a deal. We are shaking on this right now.
That's right. You're a lefty, aren't you?
We're all. It doesn't matter. We're all crossed up anyway. It doesn't matter what hand we got. We've already covered that part. Yes, that is a deal. So,
all right.
If I stick to my plan in the lobby with my cooler, drinks, and snacks, and come out after the car wash is done, you're wearing a smoke thong to St. Elmo's. This is going to be the greatest thing in the world because we're going to have social media. We're going to have traditional media. This is going to be nationwide coverage of this.
Yeah.
We're going to do it on Indy 500 weekend too, Kenny. So it's
Oh my God, that's going to be amazing.
Oh wow! Wow!
What?
Wow!
Look at Kenny.
We're going to do it on
St.
8500.
Elmo's. And for people that haven't been to St. Elmo's, it's a very classy, awesome restaurant in downtown Indianapolis. But they do a very good job of keeping the lights really low. I am going to bring every portable light you can possibly imagine while you walk through there to where everybody goes, "What in the hell is going on here?"
Oh, God.
To see that spectacle.
Wow!
Well,
Wow.
listen,
Wow.
They're gonna think on Sunday of the 500 it's the greatest spectacle in racing, and we're gonna trump that with the greatest spectacle in racing the night before. Kenny walking through St. Elmo's to
It'll be a full moon. Well,
Smoke. Smoke, listen to me, man. I've known Leah for almost 20 freaking years, and I've got an in with Leah that maybe I'll help her persuade you that you need to be.
Like I said, I'm a planner. I'm a thinker. I already know where you're going with this. I've already thought about this. There is a point in this equation where she is on a bed and she's not getting up and walking out in the lobby to say, "Get your ass in here." She's there, and that's where she's going to be till it's done. I have a strategy. I've thought about this. I have friends in the medical industry. I have a plan. You're going to look great in your thong. I suggest you start doing some workouts to tighten your cheeks up a little bit there so you look good in it. I don't want you looking flabby. I don't want you looking sloppy.
it's advertising.
Represent well. That's right.
All right, if that happens, you got to be at the table waiting on me to eat.
Oh, I'm going to eat with you.
Okay.
I'm not ashamed of you.
Man, how do we end this?
Perfect.
Wow.
How do we end this? This never ends, bud. This never ends.
Take it to Twitter.
Well, speaking of social media, get ready for it to blow up in the next 24, 48 hours, Smoke.
I can't wait, man. Cannot wait.
You know,
Thank
love
you very
you, miss
much.
you.
Yeah.
Let's don't go another 2 or 3 years, bud. All right.
Yep. Love you guys too, man. Appreciate it. And looking forward to the next time.
See you, buddy.
All right, guys. Thanks.
It's for the kids. For the kids.
It's for the kids, bud. It's for the kids. I said, I'm gonna go have lunch here, and Leah's gonna go, "Why are you getting a shot?" I said, "It's for the kids."
Yes, always. Have fun.
I'm
right,
still
guys.
suffering from that Crown Royal that was drank on that court. There were cases of Crown, Tony.
Just stop
I
it. What's in
remember.
our bar? What's in our bar right over here?
It's
across-
Crown.
It's a bunch of Crown. You're not suffering.
I'm trying to look over on our very small bar here in Havasu, and it's yeah. Well, now we have Tony's tea with Dixie vodka.
Bastard.
Dude, I gotta try some of that.
Where,
is
is
it
that available
everywhere?
nationwide?
It's just getting ready to come out. So it's iced tea, lemonade, and vodka.
Ooh.
Prepackaged.
Ooh.
And it is the great thing about it is you can sit there, like I love my beer, but I can't drink beer all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You feel bad after a while.
Especially not in Arizona when it's this hot.
And this is perfect for Arizona.
Okay.
So you will love it. You could sit there and sip on them all day long and be happy as a clam.
Who's manufacturing and distributing that?
Dixie Vodka.
Oh, Dixie, right.
All right, cool. We'll look for it.
Badass. All right. So it's about to come out. We should hit that up then.
Yeah, we'll as soon as you'll know. We have social media and stuff. As soon as it's out, everybody's going to know because I'll be guiding people in their respective areas where they can purchase it. But I never was a big vodka guy, and I have cases of it now. They went through their first round of, I don't know, for lack of better terms, bottling, I guess, or packaging. So I got a bunch of it sent to the house, and it is perfect for being on the boat.
Bam.
All right, good.
Taking it to the racetrack when it's hot, on the boat when it's hot.
On a beach, at the slopes.
There's a lot of beverages that in the winter taste good, but in the summer they don't. This is one that is going to taste good all year round. So
your birthing drink of choice, Tony's tea.
It will be in my cooler out in the lobby. So.
All right, brother. Later.
All right, guys. We appreciate it. Take care.
See ya.